You meet them and something feels off, but you can't name it yet. The confidence is intoxicating. The charm feels choreographed. They walk into a room, and within minutes, everyone's attention has shifted to them. And for weeks, maybe months, you're drawn in, until you're not. Until you say one wrong thing and watch their face transform. Until you achieve something and feel them go ice cold. Until you realise every conversation has been circling the same invisible drain, and you've been feeding it without knowing. What looks like self-love is actually self-hatred in a mask. Behind every word narcissists speak is a question they're asking 100 times a day. A question so terrifying, they've built their entire personality to avoid answering it. That question, am I lovable as I actually am? And the answer they believe deep in their bones is no. Everything you're about to see is their brain's attempt to never have to face that answer. But first, you need to understand what you've already become to them. You mention your promotion. Within 3 seconds, narcissists say, "That reminds me, I've been thinking about my next move." Your friend's in the hospital. They sigh. "I had the worst day." Someone tells a story at dinner. Watch narcissist's face. The smile freezes. Their eyes go dead. They interrupt within seconds. If you've noticed this pattern and felt crazy for noticing, you're not crazy. You're witnessing narcissistic supply in action. You are fuel for something inside them that's always starving. Your admiration isn't optional. It's oxygen. And here's the trap. Tolerance builds. Yesterday's praise doesn't work today. The dose keeps increasing, which means eventually, inevitably, the supply runs out. And when it does, their brain does something you need to see to believe. Narcissists have constructed what psychologists call a false self. Impressive, invulnerable, perfect. It's a fortress. And you just found the crack. You give gentle feedback. Something shifts behind their eyes. The temperature drops 20 degrees. Then, rage. Immediate, disproportionate, terrifying. But here's what you're actually witnessing. Narcissistic injury. For you, criticism stings. For them, it feels like death. Their brain perceives existential threat. If you've ever thought, this reaction doesn't match what I said, you're right, because you're not responding to what you said. You're responding to their nervous system's attempt to protect something buried so deep they don't even know it's there. The rage redirects the threat outward. It's not their fault, it's yours. You're incompetent, jealous, the crazy one. And they're so confident in their version of reality that you start questioning yours. This is gaslighting. But here's the mechanism. Their brain genuinely cannot hold a narrative where they are at fault. The alternative means confronting that terrifying question, the one they've been running from since childhood. So how did that question get installed in the first place? A child gets praise for straight A's, silence when they cry, attention for achievements, nothing for just existing. The message, who you are isn't enough. What you do might be. So narcissists build a false self, bury the real one so deep they forget it exists. But here's the tragedy. The false self can't receive love. Even when people admire them, they don't believe it. They know it's the mask. And if anyone saw underneath, they'd leave. This is why your love becomes a threat. You say, "I love you." Narcissists hear, "You love the performance, and when you discover the truth, you'll leave like everyone else would if they really knew me." Proving them lovable feels like setting a trap. Now here's where it gets dangerous. Narcissists have cognitive empathy. They read you perfectly. They knew you wanted someone confident. They knew you'd find the charm attractive. They knew your vulnerabilities within the first conversation. But they lack effective empathy. They understand your emotions but don't feel them. Your pain is data, not experience. Your tears are information about whether the tactic is working, not something that hurts them to cause. If you've ever said, "How can they see me cry and not care?" this is why the hardware's missing. So here's the real question. What do you actually do with this information? Most people think better communication, more love, prove their worth. You've tried this, it failed, because you're trying to fill a hole that has no bottom. Here's what works for distant relationships: co-workers, relatives you can't cut off, grey rock. Narcissists criticize you. You say, "Okay." Nothing else. No defense, no emotion, no reaction. You become boring, brief, factual. Even your silence becomes strategic. This feels wrong. That's the point. Engagement is the reward. Even negative engagement. They'll escalate. More rage, more manipulation. They'll call you cold, abusive, the real narcissist. They'll accuse you of exactly what they're doing to you. This is called extinction burst. If you're experiencing this right now, that means it's working. Hold the line and they lose interest. But here's the trap most people fall into. Grey rock doesn't solve intimate relationships, and neither does the other thing you're still waiting for: closure. You want them to understand. Apologize. See you. Narcissists never will. Their brain can't go there without triggering core shame. You could have video evidence. They'd believe their version more than you believe yours. You write the perfect letter explaining everything. They say, "This proves you're the problem." If you're still trying to make them understand, this is why it hasn't worked. Closure is something you give yourself, not something they'll ever provide. So you understand grey rock. You accept you'll never get closure. And you still can't leave. Why? Here's what keeps you trapped. Compassion. You understand narcissists' wound. That child who learned love was conditional. And you believe if you love them perfectly enough, you can heal what broke them. You cannot love someone into healing a wound they don't know exists. But that's not why you're really staying. The narcissist is running from a question. Am I lovable as I actually am? But so are you. Different strategy. Same wound. If you've ever thought, "But they need me," or "I'm the only one who understands them," that's not compassion. That's your own wound speaking. The belief that your worth comes from being needed by someone who can't actually receive what you're giving. Maybe you learnt love means tolerating pain, that your worth comes from how much you can endure. Maybe you stayed because leaving means facing a harder question. Do you believe you deserve better? And here's the part that changes everything. The answer is yes. Not because you're perfect, not because you never made mistakes in this relationship, but because being imperfect and still worthy of real love, that's the truth they can't access and you're allowed to claim. Remember when you couldn't name what felt off? That instinct was right. Your nervous system was telling you something your mind hadn't caught up to. Yet, that instinct is still working, still protecting you, still guiding you toward what's real. Narcissists abandoned you the moment they made you a role instead of a person. But you get to choose differently. Leaving isn't a conversation, it's an escape plan. Prepare in secret. Document everything. Build support. They'll love bomb you back. They'll become exactly who you wanted, just long enough to trap you again. But here's what happens on the other side. You remember what it feels like to be seen, to speak without calculating every word, to succeed without someone going cold, to exist without performing. You discover that the person you became to survive, this wasn't your final form. It was just armor. And underneath, you're still there. The moment you stop trying to be seen by someone who cannot see isn't an ending. It's the moment you start becoming visible to yourself again. And that version of you, imperfect, healing, done performing, is the one who was worth protecting all along.